Hey everyone, welcome back to Keto and Crime. And y'all, I am so happy to be back. I apologize for disappearing for so long. I've been gone since approximately, you know, December 15th. And part of that was day jobs. Things got really hectic right before both jobs went on break. So I was dealing with that. I was still planning to keep up with normal uploads during Christmas and during, New Year's or the week after Christmas. But then I got the big Rona and everybody in the house got it. So it has been a tumultuous holiday. And let me tell you, that was no joke. I was put on the new antiviral Paxlovid, and the side effects of that, I think, were probably worse than the Rona, to be quite honest. But I was sicker than stank, and I just could not do anything, much less be on camera and make any sense, at least as much sense as I normally do. Uh, you know, Not that I make that good a sense anyway. However, I am back, and I am back to give you an update on things that happened while I was gone. You may have already heard about some of these things, but I want to talk about them. So I will be switching between articles and kind of keep you abreast on all the news, crime-wise and fact acceptance-wise too. That'll come at the end. So I'm going to put the important stuff up front, the stuff that I think actually has moral and societal significance up front, the things that you would be interested in, and the rest will be at the back. So anyway, first, our old buddy Chad Daybell. In the month of December, Judge Boyce refused to take the death penalty off the table for our boy. So he got slapped in the face as far as that goes. And with the death penalty is still very much on the table, with the evidence and guilt phase still scheduled for April of this year. And if that happens, I will definitely be covering that day by day, just like I did the Rittenhouse and Lori Vallow trial. And then, of course, after that, probably around Octoberish, I would suspect that the death penalty phase, if he's found guilty, I'm assuming the death penalty phase will then, step in. So, and they'll decide whether or not to give him the death penalty. So it's on the table. So a jury has to decide both. The judge cannot decide. So there you go. Chin's Daybell still facing the death penalty, and the reasoning behind it was that the argument that his lawyers put forth, his attorneys put forth, is that because it was taken off the table for Lori Vallow, it should be taken off the table for him because she has more culpability in the death of her children than he does. But Judge Boyce reminded them that, okay, he cannot rule on culpability because he has not seen their evidence yet. And he can certainly not use the evidence of another trial. That's hearsay. But he also reminded him that not only is he charged as accessory in the murder of the children, he's also charged in the murder of his own wife, as well as financial crimes that revolve around all the murders. So his culpability has not yet been established, and that was the judge's reasoning for keeping the death penalty on the table, rightfully so. Next, we go to Batshit Barbie, and the prosecutors in Arizona have asked for more time to prepare their case. She is scheduled to, it is anticipated that she will be standing trial for the Brandon Boudreaux and Charles Vallow crimes in Arizona, if not this year, then definitely in 2025. So the prosecutors have asked for more time. So that's what we know about that right now. No decision has been made. But we also know that they were talking about extraditing her to Arizona, of course, for her trial. She's serving her life sentence in Idaho, and she will be housed in Arizona during her trial there. And I guess her attorneys were asking for some special arrangements because she didn't really like the Arizona facilities, and they wanted her house rather in the county jail rather than the prison. And I really don't care about her preferences. She killed her children. Uh, she deserves execution, in my opinion. But I don't care about her preferences, if her fifis are hurt, because, whatever. I'm sure she is sequestered from general population because people that hurt children usually don't fare well in general population. So I'm sure she is sequestered to a certain extent. And that's probably more of what they're concerned about. I don't know where they'll end up housing her, but that is what we know. And as soon as her trial in Arizona begins, unless it begins at the same time as Chad Daybell's trial, I will cover Chad Daybell's because I've already covered one of hers. But if they're at separate times, which I anticipate this one will probably not take place until 2025, um, just my opinion, I will cover them both. So that is the news on batshit Barbie. And so now we're going to leave the Daybell case and we're going to go over to something else that I think is very telling about where we are as a society. And that is that our good friend Tiffany Hard, who I have done several videos on, I'll post it right up there, about the just avid corruption of this contemptible scumbag that is taking the state of Illinois and her small village of Dolton, Illinois, to the cleaners. Well, now she is doing even more, and that is using taxpayer funds to fund her own reelection campaign. And being that she's already been recalled once and had a court, and it was thrown out by a court, I'm hoping that she doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell of getting reelected, but who knows. But she is using taxpayer funds to fund her reelection campaign. And again, you have to wonder where we're heading as a society because of our next story. In Florida, on Christmas, a 14-year-old boy was arrested for shooting his 23-year-old sister, who's a mother. Her name was Abrielle Baldwin. The other two are minors. And then he was shot in turn by his 15-year-old brother. And both are in custody with the 14-year-old in the hospital, and I will be playing a clip of the local sheriff talking about the entire case. But basically, the whole incident broke out over one was mad, the 14-year-old was mad that he thought the 15-year-old was getting more presents or better presents, and so the sister tried to break them up, even though an uncle, a grandmother, they were at the grandmother's house, and a mother, their mother, were in the house. And so this 23-year-old decided to try to break it up and told him it was Christmas, not to worry about that. And then the 14-year-old got mad, pulled out his gun, which according to the local sheriff, he stole from a unlocked car. Both of these boys are frequent offenders, which you will see. And the sheriff makes a very impassioned plea for tougher crimes on juveniles. And so he shot his sister. The 15-year-old then shot him in the stomach and then ran away. And so they're both in custody, and their sister was pronounced dead at the hospital a little while later. Now, where are the adults in this situation? There are no adults. There are people that are over the age of 18 in this situation, but there are no true adults. There are only scumbags involved in this incident because none of these children have had any raising. At least the 14 and 15. It sounds like their sister might have escaped that bubble a little bit. But definitely a culture problem here and a family problem here, but it is tragic and it makes me wonder, is there hope for our society? I still hope that there is, and I still hope that we can correct a lot of things going forward. But anyway, here's the sheriff.
All right, so we're here this morning to talk about a homicide that happened here in Largo on Christmas Eve, December 24th at about 1:45 p.m. The victim in the homicide is Abrielle Baldwin, a 23-year-old black female. Her date of birth is May 5th of 2000. She went by the name of Bree and was a mom to two boys, a 6-year-old and an 11-month-old. The incident happened at 2357 22nd Avenue Southwest in Largo. We've arrested two people, and I'll explain the incident as to what happened. The first person that was arrested is DeMarcus Coley. He's a 14-year-old black male. Date of birth is May 2nd, 2009, and he's been charged with first-degree murder, child abuse, and being a delinquent in possession of a firearm. The second is Darkus Coley. He's a 15-year-old black male. Date of birth is January 31st, 2008. And his charges are attempted first-degree murder and tampering with physical evidence. And both of them are in the photographs to my left, to your right, and they're brothers. So this is what happened. On Christmas Eve, as I said, December 24th, Abrielle Baldwin, her 10-month-old son, her 6-year-old son, her 14-year-old brother DeMarcus, her 15-year-old brother Darkus, and their mother, Joyce Birch, who's a black female with a date of birth of June 25th, 1984, went Christmas shopping at a store here in Largo. While they're shopping, 15-year-old Darkus was jealous that their mother, Joyce, was getting 14-year-old DeMarcus more gifts than he was receiving. So they had this family spat about who was getting what and what money was being spent on who, and they're having this big thing going on in the store, and they're all arguing with each other. They left the store and headed to their grandmother's house, which is where the incident happened, at 2357 22nd Avenue Southwest in Largo. They all piled into one car, and they were heading over to her house. The Coleys, along with Joyce Birch, lived at 608 Westminster Boulevard in Oldsmar. They were going to their grandmother's house because she was going to watch Bree's 6-year-old and 11-month-old baby when she went to work. So they got there to this house on 22nd Avenue Southwest at about 1:45 p.m. on Sunday. Darkus, who's the 15-year-old, entered the home and went into the kitchen with his grandmother. DeMarcus, the 14-year-old, stood in the doorway because, again, they're all arguing, and they're having this big spat about what happened while shopping and who's getting what and who didn't get what for Christmas. So this is just normal what people do when they have these young kids getting spats like this. And of course, I'm saying this sarcastically because he's all mad at his brother about what his brother was getting and is not getting. He stood in the doorway and he took out his .40 caliber semi-automatic handgun and he pointed it at Darkus and told him he was going to shoot him in the head. So you got the 14-year-old who's mad at the 15-year-old because mom's not buying equal amounts of gifts. They get to grandma's house and he takes out his gun and tells him he's going to shoot him in the head. So DeMarcus tries to get Darkus to fight. Darkus said he didn't want to fight and told him to get out of the house and he didn't want anything to do with him. One of the boys' uncles was present in the home and he separated them by moving DeMarcus out of the house and moving him out into the driveway area. This is the house here to my right, again to your left, and that's the door where he was standing into, and that's the driveway area that he moved him out to where this happened. And so DeMarcus left the doorway. Darkus is still in the house in the kitchen. DeMarcus was standing by a parked vehicle in the driveway when Abrielle told DeMarcus, quote, "You all need to leave that stuff alone. Why are you trying to start it? It's Christmas." And at that point, Abrielle was in the driveway and she was carrying her 10-month-old baby in a carrier in her hand. DeMarcus then began arguing with Abrielle and used some very, very derogatory language that I won't repeat at all, and all kinds of profanity. He was calling her a whore and all kinds of other stuff, and stated that he was going to shoot her and that he was going to, quote, shoot the baby too. DeMarcus then moved toward Abrielle and shot her in the chest with a .40 caliber semi-automatic handgun, again, while she's carrying the baby. Abrielle fell to the ground, so did the baby. The baby wasn't hurt because the baby was in a carrier. So when DeMarcus falls to the ground, Darcus comes out of the house. And again, Darcus is 15, and he takes out his .45 caliber semi-automatic handgun because, again, I'll say this sarcastically, just normal that all these kids, that's what you do, right? You just carry handguns. When you get in a spat with your sibling, you take out your guns and you have a gun battle. So he takes out his gun and tells DeMarcus, so Darcus tells DeMarcus, quote, you shot my MF sister, and then Darcus shot DeMarcus one time in the stomach. So DeMarcus falls to the ground, and when Darcus shot DeMarcus, DeMarcus was unarmed, and there's about an 8-second gap between the time that DeMarcus shot Bree and then Darcus comes out and shoots DeMarcus, and when he shot him, he no longer had possession of the gun. Darcus, the 15-year-old, then ran, threw his gun in a nearby yard, fled to a relative's house up in Clearwater, where we subsequently arrested him. Unfortunately, Abrielle Baldwin was transported to Largo Medical Center Hospital here in Largo with a single gunshot wound to her chest, and she was pronounced dead at the hospital. DeMarcus used to shoot his sister was recovered at the scene, and the .45 caliber handgun that Darcus used to shoot DeMarcus has not been recovered. Again, when he ran, he tossed it in the backyard. We've searched that area out there. We can't find it. And the unfortunate reality is probably going to be used in the next crime because somebody probably picked it up, and there's all kinds of people over there. And as I'm going to talk about here in about 1 second, there's way too many guns out there on the street, way too many crime guns out there, way too many stolen guns. Everybody's got a gun these days. And the sad part is that thing's going to be used in another crime because somebody picked it up. As you can see behind me in the photograph, DeMarcus, again the 14-year-old, recently posted a photo to Snapchat pointing the gun that he used to kill his sister at the camera. So this is within the last couple days, and this is a Snapchat photo. That's DeMarcus pointing that gun, which is this gun, which we recovered there at the scene, which is the gun that he used to kill his sister. So there's the Snapchat photo, and there's the gun that he used to kill his sister. According to many people that we interviewed out there, all kinds of people, family members, young, old, everybody across the board, is that both DeMarcus and Darcus carried guns all the time. They routinely carried firearms on them. People knew it, that's what they did, and a lot of it, they claim, is because of recent ongoings in the Ridgecrest Baskins area where they were accosted. Real easy. They're getting them because they're either buying them on the street cheap, and they're all stolen guns, and for these two guys, they're getting them because they're stealing them from unlocked cars.
And so that is the very sad story. Yeah, not much more to say about that. So with that being our last crime-related story, I'm going to switch over to something that is, to me, disturbing, though not disturbing in the same way, but also a little humorous. So let's talk about it. So if any of you are interested, FatCon is the thing. Remember I did a video on it a few months ago. I'll put it right up here, but this is there was two. One in Philadelphia took place in November, and now this one is taking place the 5th through the 8th, I believe, in Seattle. And you can see my complete video on it, but it's between $250 and $1,100 to attend. You get to go to all these different things where they tell you that being 200 pounds overweight is healthy, okay, and beautiful. And one of the keynote speakers at this illustrious event is a influencer known by the named J-Bay Travels, and I'm about to drop a video of hers here.
Tis the season to give, and this year, I'm funding fat labor. I chose to fund fat labor with NAFA's Fund Fat campaign because fat people deserve to get paid. NAFA has created the Fund Fat campaign to raise money that will help pass more legislation to protect fat folks like they did earlier this year in New York City. To continue producing free webinars for fat community, to pay for fat labor, and so much more. Donating to the Fund Fat campaign supports the fight to end weight stigma and discrimination, which is why I'm funding fat labor this year and beyond. Let me know how you want to fund fat in the comments. And don't forget to donate to NAFA by going to their page at NAFA Official or heading to nafa.org/give.
But she has petitioned from everything from a petition that businesses have to have a fat acceptance license, that they literally have to accommodate people in larger bodies, like completely rebuild their restaurants, reinforce chairs, which, provide more room. Hotels need to provide bigger towels. They need to have handrails all over the swimming pools, make sure the swimming pools have enough slack between the water and the filters to keep, you get the picture, so that if a large person steps into it, it doesn't overflow. That they've even made a suggestion that both hotels and airplanes widen their aisles to accommodate people that have pretty much ate themselves into a state of disability.
Did you know that more than 1 billion people in the world are plus size? That's roughly 13% of the population. And yet, many airlines still don't have clear policies in place to accommodate plus size passengers. That's why I've started a petition calling on the FAA to require every airline to have a clear customer size policy in place for plus size passengers. No one should have to endure the discomfort, embarrassment, and discrimination that often comes with being a plus size passenger trying to navigate air travel. By signing this petition, you can help us demand that airlines take concrete steps to make air travel more inclusive and accommodating for all passengers. Whether you're plus size or not, everybody deserves to be treated with dignity and respect when they fly. Let's work together to make sure that the travel industry serves everyone, not just a select few. Sign and share this petition, and let's make a difference.
She likens being overweight or obese to being discriminated against because of actual disability, or being of a different race, different ethnicity, different religion. I mean, they're apples and oranges, as we all know that they are. But this is the type of person that we're dealing with, and I'll shoot a video over here for you. So yeah, that's kind of what she wants, and as a result, some companies, now Southwest Airlines has had this customer of size policy in effect for a couple of years. It's just not been publicized. But with all of their, all this hubbub, they decided, I'm going to go out and virtue signal. And they have just now said that they've released the policy that says that if you are somebody that needs more than one seat to accommodate your ass, that you can do it one of two ways. You can purchase the extra seats and then get a refund afterwards, even if the plane was full or was not full. And the other is you can purchase one seat and just show up and tell the gate attendant, I need 2 or 3 seats to accommodate my fat butt, and they will give it to you free of charge, right to the point of bumping standby passengers to give it to them. So, yeah, there's that. And then another thing that will be discussed at FatCon is legislation to force society to conform and amend and validate this very, very small minority of people that have eaten themselves into a form of disability. And it's not just, I realize that something like 40% of America is overweight or obese now, but I'm not talking about the normal 30, 40, even 50, up to 75 pounds overweight. That I'm still 75 pounds overweight, and I'm working to correct it. I'm talking about people that are 150, 200, even 300 pounds. We're talking about people that are 5, 6, 7, 800 pounds. Weights that no human person has ever been at before in society unless they were literally a circus freak. And I know I'm sounding terrible, but you know my opinion on this. It grates on me. But New York has recently, they're going to be discussing legislation to force us to affirm and accommodate. So basically, New York has passed a new law that does not allow people to discriminate in employment, housing, transportation, whatever, on the virtues of body size. So, okay, housing, transportation, as long as you can fit in the transportation, sure. But what are they going to do? They're going to force bus companies and cab companies to have larger vehicles, which is going to raise the cost on us. Airplanes raise the cost on everyone else, just like Southwest. If they have a whole plane full of large people that each require 2 to 3 seats, they're going to raise the cost of tickets to compensate. So we're all going to pay for it. Taxpayers' money is going to pay for it. And they're going to say that you can't be discriminated against employment-wise for being overweight. Now, most sit-down jobs are not going to discriminate unless maybe you're the face of the company. And they're not going to tell you that they're discriminating on virtue of your weight. But anyway, but basically in New York City coming soon, a 500-pound firefighter is going to attempt to get up a ladder to rescue you from a burning building. That's what it comes down to. So again, we're going to suffer. People of New York are going to suffer. The rest of us are going to pay higher prices when private companies are forced to do these kinds of things. And I think it's just, even though it's hilarious, it's a travesty. And so everyone, that is what happened during the 2 weeks that I was out, and a whole lot more that I can't cover in one video. But I hope you enjoyed this. Got an exciting 2024 coming up. I'm going to be back to my Third Right videos. I'm also going to be covering Dr. Death, the great new docuseries on Peacock about deadly doctors. I'm going to be reviewing that as well as deep diving into the cases that they're about. And I've got a bunch of other great stuff coming up as well as the Daybell trial. So I hope you're looking forward to a great 2024. I hope you had a great holiday season. And I'm glad to be back. And I missed you all. And I will be back really, really soon with another video. And until next time, keep on crying.